Man, here we go. So I just finished doing this thing called non-sleep deep rest. I almost slept. I feel really tired but right now. But it was non-sleep deep rest. I'm gonna talk about that later today because this is how you can help build muscle and burn fat actually. And this all has to do with the stress response, and it's very important in regards to nutrition and working out, and honestly, just mental health in general. And so, the topic of this conversation has to do with stress. And so, without further ado, let's get started. So, when we talk about stress, we need to understand the HPA axis, which is part of the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight system that we all know, we're all familiar with. But what is the HPA axis? So, what it stands for, HPA, is hypothalamus, pituitary gland, adrenal cortex axis. That's what it stands for. The big things to remember is just first, you got your hypothalamus. That's what's going to it will be activated by the stress response either in your brain or in your environment. So, for instance, if we see a snake or something absolutely insane happens, like in our sensorial environment, like a scary loud noise or something that smells terrible, then we might feel the stress response activate. But that starts with the hypothalamus, and it can happen in our brain as well too. And that's what the negative feedback loop comes in, and I'll get into that in a second. But number one, right? So the hypothalamus basically is activated. This is going to liberate or release the hormone called corticotropin, which now is going to go to the pituitary gland of the brain. From there, the pituitary gland is going to release another hormone that just is, of course, named something like this. It's named adrenocorticotropic hormone. And this is what's going to activate the adrenal glands on top of your kidneys. Now, right here, this is where all the magic happens. Your adrenal glands on top of your kidneys, they're going to release cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine for the fight or flight response. This is the feeling, the stress response that we all know and feel is feeling the cortisol, epinephrine in our bloodstream. And it's going to make our heart beat faster. We're going to have more energy because glucose is going to be liberated into our muscle from our muscle cells, all those type of things. And also our digestive hormones are going to kind of slow down because we need to use all of our focus on just surviving right now. All right, and so this response will sustain itself if we have a negative feedback loop. So if we continue to feel extremely scared or, anxious, depressed, we're going to continually fire this system over and over again. We're going to have adrenal fatigue eventually because we're using so much cortisol. But in general, this is actually a very normal system. There's nothing wrong with having it activated. In fact, it's actually necessary in exercise. And I'm going to get into that into the next slide here in a second, where we're going to talk about the catabolic hormones versus the anabolic hormones. All right, so when we work out, we're actually going to elicit a catabolic response to release that cortisol, adrenaline, which was the norepinephrine, and glucagon. So glucagon, it's basically going just to make the liver convert that stored glucose into like energy that's ready to use in the bloodstream. Cortisol is going to allow the glucose that's stored in muscle cells and things like that to work as well. So that way you can actually exercise really hard. And then adrenaline just is going to make your heart beat faster. So that way you're just pumping the glucose faster through your brain and body. That way you can act more like an absolute animal rather than like think really consciously. You have to act in the fight or flight response. So it's a very primitive response. And that's why it's amazing for exercise, but not great when you're trying to sit on the couch and someone sent you a bad text, or when you got home from work and things were crazy on the drive home. That's when we don't want to have this activated. Okay, so now we have to think about that. The catabolic state is like preparing us to be like work like an animal, like boom, like let's go. Okay, now we got to think about the anabolic response, and those hormones involved that all of us have is testosterone, insulin, growth hormone, and estrogen also. Actually, I didn't write estrogen, but estrogen as well. Now, these anabolic hormones are absolutely important because this is what's going to put us in that rest and digest state, that parasympathetic state. And so, for instance, when we get done training from the gym, if we can relax, we can let our bodies relax, we're going to go into anabolic state. Testosterone is going to help us build muscle from working out so hard. Growth hormone is going to do the exact same thing. It's going to help with your bones as well. And then insulin is going to help you store a lot of that glucose that you've ate from your meal and stuff like that to stay in your liver. So that way it's just there stored as energy, and it can help recover and replenish your body as well. And this is what we want. But the problem is a lot of us cannot get into this anabolic state because we are so stressed out all the time, including after workouts. And so the context of this video is in regard to exercising and putting on muscle. But let's just, for example, we're going to go down the exercise route. A lot of us are not getting into this anabolic state after working out because let's say we're working out hard, super hard as hell in the morning, and then we're like running back home, trying to eat food as fast as we can. And we're getting in the car and we're heading to traffic, and then we're trying to get to work, and then work's stressful and people are telling us what to do. Our body has no time to go and recover. Zero time. And I'm not saying that like exercise in the morning is bad by any means, but you don't have a system in place to let your body recover. Could be the same thing in the night. Like if you worked out super hard at night and then you came home and your house is a mess and you got to clean up everything, and then your kids are crying and stuff like that, and they need help, and you got to cook, and you got to answer a few more emails. It's exhausting, and you can't let your body get into that anabolic state. And so this is something that people should be aware of for sure. Because for me, I lived a lot like this when I was in the military. Actually, I was just wondering, like, why was I not putting on any muscle? I was working out a lot. I felt like I was eating pretty good. And I was also partying a lot too. So alcohol was destroying a lot of my results anyway. But I was like, what's going on? Like, like I'm exercising all the time, but I'm not like getting where I want to do with my goals. And a huge part of it was because I was not letting my body get into the anabolic state. And this is the most case for pretty much anyone out there struggling with their health and fitness goals, and especially with people that are struggling with mental health in general. We continue to live in survival mode, continue to signal the catabolic response, the sympathetic nervous response. And when we do that and we continue to have this negative feedback loop, boom, sorry, I spelled negative wrong on this. But when we continue to do that, it's just impossible to feel better. It's impossible to live a healthier life and have more peace and let your body get to the level it needs to. Okay. So can we get into this anabolic state? Well, let me tell you, because I just said at the beginning of the video, I just got done with non-sleep deep rest. That's the way you got to do it. So let's see. And I've learned about this actually from Dr. Andrew Huberman's podcast. This guy is an incredible neuroscientist, and he's helped me tremendously. And a lot of stuff isn't really like rocket science or anything like that. But this guy's just a neuroscience. He has amazing people come in that understand the body really well. And they talk about like training regimens, or they talk about just sleep or drugs or whatever. Like they're neuroscientists. So they push it to the limits and bring out interesting content all the time. But the big thing that really helps you get into an anabolic state after working out is getting into these non-sleep deep rests. And so what this basically is, it's essentially a form of meditation. And you can actually do a proper meditation after working out. In fact, I highly recommend, and that's what I do when I do my non-sleep deep rest, is I play this meditation by Michael Seeley on YouTube. And it's a meditation for muscle growth. And so you just lay down, and this guy basically has these more or less affirmations about how you're letting your body relax and allowing your muscles to recover. And it kind of works because it's very hypnotic, and hypnotic allows like the subconscious mind, or hypnosis allows like the subconscious mind to basically change. And so when you're allowing your body just to have these like more comforting signals, you're laying down in bed. The big thing is light as well. You got to cover up the light in the room if you have a dark room, or if you can cover up your eyes at least. It's going to help your body just relax and get out of that super catabolic state into that muscle building anabolic state. Okay, and how long should you be doing this? Well, I do it for at least 25 minutes, and I'm a personal trainer, a fitness coach. This is my job, so that's a pretty long time maybe compared to how a lot of people have time. But I think you could get a lot of value out of at least 10 to 15 minutes laying down, covering your eyes, and just relaxing, listening to very gentle music, or the meditation that I recommended by Michael Seeley, meditation for muscle growth. But if you can go upwards of a half an hour, I think that is absolutely huge. And for me, I do a lot of CrossFit training. In fact, like when I used to train a lot in the mornings, I would eat a lot of food after training and then literally just sleep for like an hour afterwards. And I think that was absolutely spectacular for like my results. And as far as fitting this into your schedule, you have to like, if you're really wanting to get serious with your training, and I think everybody really should, they should think about considering where this fits into their schedule after working out. Because like I said, you only need to maybe do it for 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes at least would be best. But if you know you got to go to the gym, and you know you got your work hours, and you know you got your responsibilities, and you have your personal responsibilities, then I'm sure you can find some time in the day to fit in another 15 to 20 minutes just to relax after exercising. And so for the clients that I have, it's always just no pressure on what you need to do after working out. Just let your body relax, eat, and chill for a second. Let your body just recover. Because when we're just slamming ourselves with stress response after stress response, we're not going to get the results that we want because we're just so activated by our catabolic hormones. We have no chance for testosterone and growth hormone to come in and get us stronger. And so if you're like totally not on board with what I'm saying, you got to remember this. There's huge studies out there too that show that. Let me go back to this slide right here. All right. So when you got high levels of cortisol and you got low levels of testosterone, right? And these studies that come out, they always show that people are dying faster in their lives when they have extra cortisol and low testosterone, like no matter what the things are. And they're often frequently correlated with diabetes as well and cardiovascular diseases. And it's clear that this is all you need to understand is that you need to let your body relax throughout the day. And even if you're not working out all the time, and you need to be, honestly, if you're not, but either way, if you're having mental health issues, you got to let yourself get into this relaxed anabolic state. And you do that by the means of meditation and non-sleep deep rest. And that's just what has to happen. So that's the big thing. That's a big takeaway. So thanks for watching this video. My name is Ethan Etchart. I am a personal trainer. I help people with addictive behaviors such as alcohol and nicotine, porn, you name it. Okay. So check out my website, Ethan Etchart Fitness. I release fitness articles every single week. Got a YouTube channel here as you're watching right now. You better like and subscribe to this video, please. And then follow me on Instagram at Ethan Etchart. Stay tuned for the next video. You're going to see a lot more content coming out about stress because I have a huge presentation coming out in February that I'm delivering to a lot of people in person. So I need to put all this content on here for you guys to consume as well. All right. Thanks again. I'll see you guys.